Some of you will be listening to this episode as it airs on Juneteenth. The heck is Juneteenth? It depends who you ask, okay? But let's talk about what it actually is. And we opposed Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday as it happened. And yes, it is the day that it is mandatory to work at Turning Point USA. We're going to talk about it actually on the day. I say we're given multiple days off for our actual Independence Day, July 4th, 1776. The issue is that the entire point of it, as per postmodernists do and deconstructionists, is to subvert July 4th. That has always been the agenda. That there's a Black Independence Day and a National Independence Day. The same way that they have a Black national anthem that plays before NFL games. That they have Black-only dormitories and Black-only math classes. It is a neo-segregationist federal holiday, is what it is.
You know how I know that this is not a segregationist thing? Because he's against it. I'm pretty sure that he's not actually. Jesus, that is just a, as an aside, relatively twitchy white man who is ranting against Black people having things. That's all that is. I was against it. I want to make sure that you know that at the time I was against it. Like in the moment, they're always so proud of being opposed to like Juneteenth being established as a holiday, like MLK Day being established as a holiday, segregation ending or whatever. They'll always, like they're so excited, but then eventually they realize they have to move on. Like he in 20 years will not be making these claims or whatever, but for now, my God. Well, look, I would assume whoever eventually replaces him, some younger conservative
some
man,
AI bot, yeah,
say whatever to young racists or whatever. Yeah, it's amazing how angry he gets about a holiday that he could just not participate in, I guess. What do you think?
I mean, if anything, it's Father's Day that it was like a little bit too close to. Why don't you take that angle? That's fine. No, this is just so, you know what? Watching Charlie Kirk get triggered by Juneteenth just sort of, again, undergirds the fact that it's wonderful that Juneteenth exists. It's great that it and that in a way he's explaining, Black Independence Day, right? When all people who lived in this country were, well, not enslaved anymore, right? I mean, not necessarily living the freedoms that white men had at the time, but there was no more slavery. That's a huge reason to celebrate, and not just for Black Americans, but for all of us, right? So it's kind of nice when you, again, I think all holidays should trigger people. Look, sometimes I get triggered by July 4th, to be honest with you. I'm not really into pig butts. I'm not really into fireworks. I mean, actually, I know. Let's be real. I love fireworks, but I used to live in San Francisco and you can never see them, so I'd get really mad because it's just fog in the summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just like, yeah, man, we need this. This is good. Let's have a fun barbecue. Let's celebrate on Juneteenth, and if nothing else, take the moment to remember this is the true Independence Day.
Yeah, again, I love the combination of him saying, "What is even is Juneteenth?" and then like he tries to make like a history-based arguments against it, implying that he's done just enough research to lend like a veneer of science to his anti-Black rant that he's going on. He tweets, if Juneteenth was really about emancipation, why not September 22nd when Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation? Why not when the proclamation took effect? Why not with the ratification of the 13th Amendment? Because it's not about emancipation, which was one of America's great moral achievements, even though slavery wasn't that bad. I added that, but he was definitely thinking it. It's about creating a summertime race-based competitor.
Oh my God.
Jesus, dude, okay. Then why do we have Memorial Day? I've always felt like it's trying to compete with Veterans Day, and both of them are competing with Independence Day, which is really about the soldiers who gave us the independence. Like Jesus, man, it's a holiday. There's different holidays. Like we all understand why you have a problem with this. This just reeks of Ben Shapiro tweeting, Wakanda's not real, right? It's like it has nothing to do with you or your life. But that you have to periodically remind your audience that you're with them when it comes to questions of race. So you just you work so hard to have an issue with something that's causing no damage whatsoever. If it is a mandated holiday where people get to take time off, then good. Whether you like the history that it's enshrining it regardless. And by the way, the very point of it is that it's when emancipation wasn't just a thing that was said, but it was a reality. Yeah. And maybe it's a thing that some communities are used to hearing a thing, but it not actually playing out that way. And the action is more important than just the proclamation. So that's why we want to honor that. There's something to actually be learned here that maybe has echoes in the situation that we're in right now. But even so,
look, the other day, he didn't know what.
Go. The American people are owed so many extra days of not having to grind away for capitalism that honestly, I don't even care what you call it. They are owed this day and they're owed many other days. Sorry,
I effed up your flow. Final point. The other day, Charlie Kirk Googled glory hole. You could just Google Juneteenth. What is it? Oh, when the last enslaved people found out
100%.
Slavery was abolished.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. By the way, I'm gonna end with this. Candace Owens tweeted, Juneteenth is still ghetto and made up. It's a holiday. Where do you think holidays come from, Candace? Do you think that paleontologists dig them up in the fossil record? That's what a holiday is. It's a made up thing. But unlike her, I actually do hope that everyone enjoyed it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.